Still here.
Oh, Gary, I'm hoping to be still here throughout tonight's chat show because my internet is plugged in, it's been rebooted, it's working fine. So hopefully there'll be none of the shenanigans that we had last week.
Have you put your lights out just to make sure that the electricity just is conserved?
Well, I noticed that, Gary. I might need to put the big light on through midway through tonight's show because it's still actually quite light outside for 8 o'clock.
It's pretty late. I said that coming over and the journey over. I said that it's quite a nice night tonight.
The nights are fair getting longer, as they say. That hour change that we had a couple of weeks ago made all the difference. Anyway, folks, good evening to you all.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to show 50. Party poppers, 50 shows. Couple of numpties sitting on the internet every week on a Wednesday. Folks sitting laughing at us. There they do again.
Oh, God, I know. It was, I tell you what, 50, that's quite a landmark, Gary. We're nearing a year since we started this. And who could believe it, eh, Gary? Who could believe it?
I can't believe that this is 50 shows, Andy. From way back then, I remember speaking to folk at the start of this, nervous about my business, wondering what the hell's going on. It's going to be 3 months, isn't it? This will last for 3 months. Surely it'll not be any longer than 3 months. And here we are.
Yep.
Nearly a year.
Nearly a year. And what a journey it's been when you think about it. You know, all the different things that have happened in all of our own lives. And then, of course, what's been happening out there in the big bad world. And then what's been happening in the chat show. It's been quite a journey. So 50, quite a landmark. We've Elizabeth, I'm not quite 50 yet.
Not near a mark.
But Gary, have you passed that milestone, Gary?
Yes. Even though though, you'd have to ask me and I'd have to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
I'm well over 50. I'm heading for a bus pass.
You reckon? Not long to go, Gary.
Not long to go. But it's been really exciting, Andy, and as we say every week, the guests make this show. And we've had some amazing guests on Paisley's Community Chat Show and the 50 shows we've had, ranging from the Provost to Santa and everything in between.
Absolutely. But last week was a brilliant show. Last week, folks, for all of you tuning in tonight. And in fact, there we go. We know where we stand with Councillor Devine.
What game was on?
I have no idea. Was it the carpet balls or something, Eddie, that you were watching?
Oh, yeah. Eddie likes a bit of the carpet balls. He was watching the David Bryant DVD box set.
Oh dear. Well, listen, Eddie, we were just talking about last week's show, and it was a photography special. So you can watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on our Facebook page, so you can get it on catch up, so you didn't need to miss anything. But we had Stuart Allen on and Alan Gilmer. And not only were they fantastic guests, but the photographs that we had to show you last week were just phenomenal, weren't they, Gary?
Great pictures. Got my thought processes going for pictures. And as you know, Andy, this week I moved office and I managed to save from my old office all my graphics. So I'm thinking graphics, pictures, and I've got the one behind me there. We're there.
Aye.
There. I've got that from my office as well. So that's one of my favourite viewing points in Paisley. It's a cracking picture by my pal John McCartney up the top of the Barshaw Hill, looking out over to Paisley. One of my favourite pictures.
Absolutely. And here's Ronnie. Ronnie's another one of Paisley's great photographers. Ronnie's been doing some cracking stuff, and I'm sure we'll get Ronnie on the show at some point. Good to see you.
We'll get him on in year 2, Andy, of the Paisley Community Chat Show.
Absolutely. Evening, Jackie. How are we? Update from Councillor Devine. We know that the game that he was watching last week was indeed game of tiddlywinks.
Well, we know where we sit. We know where our place in the hierarchy.
Evening, Provost.
Evening. But yeah, it's been a busy week, Andy. You had a good week.
Yeah, it has. It's been really busy work-wise for me, and I've been continuing with the running. Gary, I've been running. Not only I've been running 5Ks, I've been running 7.5Ks, and ran a 10K.
Madness,
Gary. So I have no idea where this whole kind of bug has got me for going out and running, but I've actually managed to start running. But it was a strange week for running, and for all of us in Paisley would know that we went out on Saturday, and Saturday was a beautiful morning in Paisley. So we went out for a lovely run on Saturday morning. I actually got a wee bit sunburnt on Saturday, and myself and my daughter Catherine went out for a run last night, and I think we must have ended up with frostbite because it was so bloody cold.
Oh, it's went from one extreme to the other, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely bitter.
I came out of the office the other day, Andy, and it was really, really sunny, not a cloud in the sky, T-shirt on, went back into the office, put my jumper on. Freezing cold it was. Freezing.
Aye, it's a wee bit cold tonight, actually. Here's me in my kind of summery top on, although I've got my vest on underneath, but
I'm in skins as well. It's a bit cold in here. I've not been in here for a few days.
I might, when I go to put the big light on, Gary, I might grab a fleece and put that on as well. But
costume change.
Absolutely, but I can hear something that might heat me up here a wee second, Gary. Hold on.
What have you got? Pine Bovril?
Oh, I've got special service tonight, Gary. Service.
Pine Bovril. Oh, that's good. Talking about
service with a smile here, Gary.
Good. Hello. Got a big light on. What are you going
on itself there, Gary? How good was that?
It's like a Google light.
That's you don't say "Hey Google" or "Hey Alexa." You say "Hey Claire, put the light on."
Oh dear, that's you in the Duchess again. Right. Anyway, Andy, what's been catching your eye? Anything?
Well, I know what we're going to talk about tonight, but what's been catching my eye tonight in the town? Well, I think you're going to cover most of these, Gary, tonight because it's been quite busy. But I tell you what has been catching my eye, and I'm going to bring this one up again, Gary, because you introduced us to it.
What have I done?
Unforgotten.
Oh, you've been watching it, Andy?
Oh, Gary, we're addicted to it. We're on season 3 now.
Oh, wow.
And without giving any spoilers, it's a body that's been found in the motorway.
Oh,
I know. So that's caught my eye because we've been watching a lot of Unforgotten. The other thing that caught my eye that I thought was worthwhile reminding everybody about was, of course, our good friends at Pace, who are embarking on a really ambitious theatre project for the town, which has our full 100% backing at Paisley Community Trust. The Exchange is what it's going to be called in back Snedden, and they are going to be running a fundraiser. And they've got an event coming on the 24th of April. So not too long away. We're still in April, aren't we, Gary? So 24th of April. 24th of April. And you can get your tickets at pacetheatre.com, big night in. And you donate what you can. I love the thought of that, Gary. You donate what you want. So if you want to stick in a fiver, you stick in a fiver. You want to stick in 50 quid, you can stick in 50 quid. Other amounts, of course, are available, Gary. But I thought it was important to remind everyone tonight because we want that to happen for Pace and we want them to be able to raise the money that they need.
Wonderful. Now, something's caught my eye on a theme of reminding folk about stuff. This caught my eye, Andy. Now.
Oh.
And the theme of the Paisley Food and Drink Festival.
Go on.
The online paroka is there.
Online paroka?
You can't beat a bit of paroka. So we're going to have a bit of online paroka.
That's your two favourite things there, Gary. Paroka and gin.
Paroka and gin. Take us back to a 1970s high flat party. Let's get the paroka on.
Brilliant. When's the food festival kicking off, Gary? It's not long. I think we're going to be talking about that a bit later, aren't we?
We might be able to tell you if I'll get this right.
Oh.
Yeah. The online food festival, Paisley Food and Drink Festival 2021, online from Friday the 16th of April to Saturday the 24th of April. Delivered direct to your home. If you live in a home, you're having a treat. If, like me, you live in a house, you're missing it. But get your paroka ordered. You know, my favourite. What's your favourite paroka, Andy?
Well, I think I just stick with a good old vegetable.
Oh, aye.
Vegetable. I can't even say pakora now properly. You've got me mixed up. It depends. If you've been out for a few beers, a wee bit of chicken pakora is always quite good.
Yeah. Have you done the mushroom?
Probably, but it's not one that jumps out at me, Gary.
Oh, mushroom paroka. Oh, fantastic.
Here, changing the subject ever so slightly, did you enjoy your Easter? Because it's been Easter since we last spoke, Gary.
Just another day, Andy.
Eggs? Any chocolate eggs?
I think so, but it's just another day. Passes me by. Doesn't bother me one iota.
Well, folks, we'd like to hear what you've got to say on this particular subject. I had a Cadbury's mini egg.
How many?
A mini egg one. Well, it was a chocolate egg, but Cadbury's with a
How many?
Mini eggs. And the Cadbury's chocolate, just didn't taste the same, Gary.
It's because you're on a fitness kick just now.
No, the family concluded this, that normally a Cadbury's chocolate egg, the egg would be like a dairy milk, but in an egg shape.
Of course, you think.
This wasn't the same, Gary. So, folks, if you had Cadbury's, if you've got any left over, if you've got some still in the cupboard, go and get it and take a wee bite of it tonight and tell me.
Right, I'm going to have mine tonight. I've got a Cadbury's cream egg sitting in there. We splashed it on us. We're sharing one. It cost £1. So we're sharing it over Easter. We got a Cadbury's cream egg, Easter egg. We're going to try it tonight and I'll fill in the survey. Question of the week. Does Cadbury's chocolate taste the same as it used to?
Well, I don't know. What about this one, Gary? Fish paroka.
Fish paroka is very nice as well. It's the proper spelling.
It is. There's always haggis paroka.
Haggis paroka. That's very nice as well. There used to be a paroka shop up the Great Western Road, I think it was.
Now,
guess what it's sold?
Don't know.
Paroka. Just paroka. Just paroka.
I think Drew is maybe talking about my chocolate egg and not suggesting that out of date egg paroka is a thing, Gary.
Oh, that might be a thing. Deep fried paroka with egg and chocolate.
But it's got to be out of date.
We are talking about a lot of cake now, more than usual, Andy. I've got to admit. Other things that caught my eye this week, and here comes this one's with a bit of a warning. Our friends at the Renfrewshire Toy Bank, you can't read the small print in that, really, but our friends I noticed this, Andy, on social media. Our friends at Renfrewshire Toy Bank are wanting to just draw people's attention to the potential of fraud.
Oh, that sounds quite serious, Gary.
Well, it's just a wee ready reckoner, and so the Renfrewshire Toy Bank were asked about were they involved in a certain thing. And
right.
He says, no, we're not. But here's some things that you should look out for if you're donating or parting with your money, in particular, or online. And the opportunity for charlatans out there, it's just to watch out for them. And some wee kind of snippets in there. I can't quite read that, Andy. But have you got
I've got my Hector Spectres on tonight, Gary, so I can read some of that. So I'm guessing basically there's a number. I don't know if they're a number, but there might be other organisations out there who are purporting to be charitable, who are looking to take items off of people that perhaps may be linked to unscrupulous behaviour. That's kind of the point. And if you're thinking of donating, folks, here's some things that you might want to think about. So do they have, the organisation, have an official group bank account? Are they registered with Engage Renfrew? So Engage Renfrew, good thing to check. Are you registered? And check, don't just take their word for it, check. Do other well-known groups work with them? So you can always, I guess, measure someone by the friends that they keep. Do they have an SCVO number? Is there transparency on where the donations go? Because I guess if you've donated something, you want to know exactly that goes to good causes. Do the group have board members? Do they have data protection or GDPR policies in place? And the Renfrewshire Toy Bank cannot express how important that is. Is there clear evidence that your donation is going to the place that they've stated? And are the donations stored in clean, secure, insured premises? The list goes on and on, but please be careful. I would suggest, Gary, that there are organisations out there that, given the fact that those are things that you need to check, there are organisations out there that are operating without any of those things in place.
Yeah. I mean, we know how difficult and the process to go through to become a charity, Andy, and it's not straightforward, and it's really easy to take shots at people that go out of their way to help others.
Yep.
And I think it's incumbent on us all, if you're giving your money and you're giving donations, to give it to the right place and give it to those that are doing it in the proper way, in a legitimate way.
Absolutely.
And those wee telltale signs. I'll also, Andy, just I know we're going to talk about business.
Yeah.
When I'm engaging with businesses, someone gives you their card or they give you an email address.
Yep.
If it's at AOL or at CompuServe or whatever like that, I don't really believe they're a business.
All right. Okay.
If it's at andysbusiness.co.uk, then I know you're a business, because you've got that feel and that kind of sense of. So there's wee things to look out for, but charitable organisations that have got a board structure, that have got legitimate bank accounts, all of that sort of stuff, don't just give, check.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important. In fact, today, and I have to I was down earlier on today making myself a cup of tea, and Loose Women so happened to be on the television. I wasn't watching it, honest, but they were talking about scams that are on. And they were saying how often they get phone calls claiming, oh, this is HMRC, or this is your bank, etc., etc. And basically, you know, how easy it is to be kind of fooled and to be sort of scam aware. And I got one today claiming that my Amazon Prime account was getting charged a huge amount of money. Yeah. They're all just phishing, folks. You know, banks don't contact you for these scams. HMRCs don't contact you in this kind of way either. Just put the phone up in them on them. Don't engage. Don't be scammed.
Keep your money. That's great advice, Andy. Great advice from our friends at Renfrewshire Toy Bank. And talking about charities and legit charities, and one of our regular viewers in the paper, in the news a lot recently, caught my eye. The guys down at Own Your Bike in Fergusley, and they don't only service Fergusley, they service the whole of Renfrewshire. If you've got a bike that's maybe sitting in the hut, sitting in the garage, sitting in the spare room out in the balcony, and it's sat there for a long, long time, and you're thinking, I'm going to put that in the dump. You can take it down there and they'll put it to the side, or you can contact Own Your Bike and they'll come and pick it up, and they'll do it up. They'll do a bit of maintenance on it, and they'll pass it on to some needy kids that wouldn't necessarily get a bike. And they've picked up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bikes recently.
Am I right in saying, Gary, that in terms of those bikes, they don't sell them on, do they, or do they sell them on for a small price?
No, I know that. I read something today, Andy. If you've got a bike that you see and you go, look, I can't afford a bike, but I'd like that one, for a £5 donation deposit, refundable, they'll hold the bike for you. You go down, pick the bike up, you get your £5 back, and you go away with a bike.
Oh, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic. And that's Own Your Bike. So, folks, bear that in mind if you're looking for bikes, or you're getting rid of bikes, or if you know someone that perhaps needs a bike.
Yeah, no, I think that's the case, Andy. So I think that's the way that works. So if the guys who Own Your Bike are tuning in tonight and we've got that wrong, then put a wee note up and we'll correct ourselves. And another thing that's caught my eye.
Go on.
In the vein of moving gradually towards a business discussion.
Okay.
I have noticed, now this is something that I've noticed, I think it's really quite important that we raise the subject of, can you give a job placement to a young person? Now, this is available as a government Kickstarter initiative. You can contact Engage Renfrewshire, Renfrewshire Chamber of Commerce, Renfrewshire Council, and say, look, I've got an opportunity for a young person or a number of young people, and I believe, Andy, all the costs are covered. 25 hours is the minimum. They'll cover your 25 hours. They'll cover a training package. They'll cover your national insurance for 6 months. So really, really important that's highlighted. It's an opportunity out there to Paisley and Renfrewshire-based businesses. If you can give a young person a job placement, that's where you go.
Absolutely. And listen, there's a lot of folk out there that have got their own businesses, and cast your mind back when you were trying to get a start yourself. It can be quite difficult. Getting that first job is perhaps sometimes one of the hardest things to do. And there's a scheme in place that takes all of the financial pain and burden away from you. So if you can give a young person an opportunity to get started, to get their first, rung of the ladder, then that's definitely worth doing.
Is it in there, Andy? Is that something you were want to talk about?
Well, I was going to talk about that one, Gary.
I thought that was me. I was one. I thought I've not seen that. So what else has caught your eye, Andy? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to pick up on it as we were talking about businesses, because folks, tonight is a business special. So let's get on to the main subject, the meat of what we're talking about tonight. And we had Bob from the Chamber on a few weeks ago, along with Donald Boyd from Assets, formerly Campbell Dallas. Some of you might remember the name by, and both of them gave a really positive overview of what it's like to actually start and run and grow a business in Renfrewshire. And both of them agreed that now was actually a really good time to consider starting your own business. Now, you might be thinking, geez, we're in the middle of a pandemic, lockdown's still in place, there are businesses out there that are finding it really, really tough. But actually, what both of them were saying is, if you've got the right proposition, if you've got the right opportunity, things are changing, behaviours are changing, and needs are going to be changing as well. So what are the things that you can do as an individual or as a group or a team to grow your organisation or start your organisation? So tonight we're going to talk about that. In fact, we're going to be chatting a little bit later on to two folks who have done exactly that, and they've chosen to set up their own business at this period of time. And we'll dig in more to the detail, but it's been a success already just in the early phases. But Gary, you and I have both done it. We've set up our own businesses. It's full of ups and downs. It's never ever plain sailing. But on the whole, it's a really vital part of our economies.
Yeah, and I didn't realise actually until Donald was on the show recently that my business is a key component part of the local economy, because we're a good small to medium enterprise.
Yep.
As Donald mentioned on the show, it's better to have 200 small to medium enterprises than one big one.
Yeah,
and building the economy and employing people. And I remember the moment quite well, Andy, when I looked through my meeting room window and there was 6 bodies sitting there, and I had to find work to keep them busy. And then you realise, well, they're paying their mortgages and their bills as a result of this job. So you need to take it really seriously. But it is an adventure. It's an adventure.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It meanders. Yeah. It has ups and downs, Andy.
Yeah, and we see a lot of comments on Facebook about new businesses, new shops, new retail coming into the town, new offerings, and we'd like to get your thoughts on it, folks. What are the challenges that are out there that you think exist within Paisley and Renfrewshire that might stop you from starting up your own business? Have you got an idea to set up a business, but you're maybe struggling with what the next steps that you need to take? What do you think the big opportunities are likely to be? Because all good businesses are opportunity driven. They've identified something in the marketplace where there's a problem. They come up with a solution and they can deliver that solution to potential customers. And I think we see things changing, Gary. We've talked about localism on the show, this 20-minute neighbourhood. And that's going to be a big focus for Scottish government. It's going to be a big focus for local authority. And I think when you're starting to think about 20-minute neighbourhood, what do you want on your doorstep? What type of businesses would you like to be able to wander down and wander into? That presents a lot of opportunities, surely, Gary.
Yeah, there are opportunities, and that I've noticed as well. Businesses will close, businesses will change, gaps will appear, new businesses will pop up, and management will change as a result of that. And a couple of things I've noticed, Andy, that I wanted to highlight this evening about change in ownership and the perception of a new business. So a new business kicking off in Paisley that I am very familiar with, and change of ownership. So I wanted to highlight a few of them this evening, Andy. And one of them was, sadly, Cafe Lusso closed not that long ago.
Right.
But from the ashes has came the new Cafe Lusso. So someone and a number of people said, I think that's a cracking spot for a cafe. I've always wanted to have a cafe. I'm going to give it a go. So right in the middle of the lockdown and pandemic, Cafe Lusso has been resurrected and is open again and is a new business under new management. So that's really exciting, Andy. So that's one I've noticed.
Yep.
Another one on the theme of new management is one of our meeting rooms. Mm-hmm. So Bianco Nero, groundbreaking cafe in the middle of the town when it started as Saporito, changed itself to Bianco Nero, is now under new management. So that's great news. So it's not just about moving a business on or creating a gap. That one came from management within.
Yeah, that's what I understand, Gary. It's not new management as in, complete strangers. It was actually people that worked in the shop that's taken that over. So it's kind of effectively a sort of management buyout, so it's great to see that as a going concern and a legacy getting passed on to people that know the business really well.
Yes, absolutely, Andy. And that's a testament to the business. And it's also a testament to people that's taking it on. Because sometimes an employee, you think, well, I can't do that. I can't take that step.
Yep.
And a natural thing to do is to be within a business and get the opportunity to become management and then to become the owner. That's still quite daunting. So great credit to the people, Lindsay, that's taken over down at Bianco Nero. Yep. And of course, leaving a business behind, Gary McCaw has a new business. So that's two or three things that's happening in the town. Cafe, Lusso, Bianco Nero, and now the regeneration of the Gleniford Hotel up just past yourself, Lower Glenburn.
Well, absolutely, in Lower Glenburn, Gary. I'm looking forward to this. I know the works have been in and probably slowed down slightly due to COVID, but that's in a great location, and Gary's a sort of serial entrepreneur within Paisley and the cafes, bars and restaurants that he's been involved in, and well done. He's someone that's staying very true to the town. He's supporting initiatives. In fact, I seen him supporting the Pace Theatre there the other week. So folks, these are the types of businesses and organisations that we really love to see in the town. Those that put back, those that continue to support the community. What are the community values of some of the businesses that work in the town? Are they there just to take, or are they there actually to put back? And I'd encourage anyone that's thinking about setting up your own business, think about what you're going to do to put back into the community of Paisley or back into the community of Renfrewshire. That's really important.
Absolutely, Andy. So that's a business transition, serial entrepreneur, as you mentioned. A couple other ones I want to highlight, Andy. Yep. One in New Street. Now this is potentially a really, really good location for this, because there's not anything like that up the that end of the town. But it's a burger cafe type of environment. Yeah, it used to be the old Maestros in Centurion before your time, Andy. But
way before my time, Gary.
Across the road and up a wee bit from the Bull Inn. On New Street, we'll meet in the middle. So it's a guy from Kilmarnock who's noticed that there's an opportunity in Paisley, and he's decided to open up in our town. So that's great. So that's a new business being attracted in the way and investing in the town. So that'll create a bit of life up that end of the street. That will create employment. So that's that one I wanted to talk about, Andy. There's another one just down in Moss Street, which I quite like the name of.
Go on.
It's called Ma Cafe. So that's what it's called.
Your cafe, Gary.
No, it's my cafe.
I thought it was my cafe.
No, it's who's in first base.
I don't know who's on second.
Yeah, exactly. It's my cafe, so it's down near the railway bridge on the left-hand side as you go down Moss Street, down towards the old Love Street Stadium, down that way. On the left-hand side, there's a small cafe, and it's my cafe.
My cafe. Anyway, Gary, for those that might not know, it's who's on first, what's on second, and I don't know who's on third.
I don't know.
He's on third.
I think you're making things up now. I only know who's on first base.
Who's on first, what's on second? You do know the relevance of that, Gary, don't you?
It's Rain Man, is it no?
No, it was spoken about in Rain Man, but it was it's an Abbott and Costello sketch.
Yes.
And it's one of the funniest sketches ever. Who's on first? Well, that's all really exciting, Gary. My cafe. What else has been?
Here's another one. So this is a really quite an interesting. I'd encourage all the ladies out there. I say that I know you're not meant to discriminate, but it's
you're not allowed to genderize now, Gary.
No, you're not. But it's a ladies' boutique. It used to be E52, I think.
All right. Okay.
So here's a couple of entrepreneurs that have noticed that they need to transition their business.
Right.
And they're remaining in the town, they're investing in the town, they're investing in their business. And it's now called Milano Boutique. Milano. It's not just shoes, it's all sorts of accessories and clothes, bags, shoes, you name it. It's a really nice Italian-style clothes shop and boutique. Brilliant. Right in the centre of the town. So that's another interesting aspect of business. And retaining a business in the town, they've transitioned.
They've changed what they're doing, and do you know that's not unusual, Gary? You know, some companies will go through transitions. They'll decide that actually the product that they're selling or the service that they're selling isn't working, and they've got to change and they've got to adapt and they've got to iterate their service, and it's great to see that. But you know, folks, I think what we want to say is more than anything, and we see comments on social media about, you know, they need to bring in shops, they need to do something about it, you know, they need to, you know, change something else, whatever it is. It always feels like it's like they's someone else. And I guess folk are probably thinking it's the local authority, it's the council. The reality is it's not they, it's us. We're the community. Yeah. We need to change Paisley. You know, we need to work with our stakeholders in the town, the local authorities, the universities, the colleges, etc., the big employers. But if you want a shop in the town, think about starting up a business yourself. And you don't need to go to expense, because that's not the super important thing. Or if you want to start up a business in the town, you can do that. You can do that. You've got your capability. And there is support organisations out there, Gary, that will help in the journey. So I wanted to pick up on a couple of the local Renfrewshire support organisations that are out there. So some of you will probably be familiar with Incube in the town. So they're on the high street and they've got a shop round in Gilmer Street. But it is a place that you can go, and I'm not sure of the opening hours or whether it's functioning right now through to COVID, but I'm sure there's an email address down at the bottom of that there. But Incube is, you know, in Paisley and in Renfrewshire, it is your first place that you should think about going, because they work in partnership with Business Gateway. So if you're thinking about setting up a business, the folks at Incube and the folks at Business Gateway will be able to help and assist and guide you through the basics, you know, whether it's writing your business plan, whether it's about doing your accounts, looking at your financials, if it's about getting grants or assistance or whatever it might be. The folk at Incube and the folk at Business Gateway within Renfrewshire will be able to help. And following on from that, Gary, was this one. Now, I need to check to see where this one is at, but it was something that I spotted a while back. I think, again, this has probably been affected by COVID because it's a physical space.
Yeah, I passed it the other day, Andy.
Well, it's something called Startup Street, and it's down in George Street in Paisley. and it's business incubation space. Where if you're looking to again set up your business and you're looking for a desk or two to hire, and you want to start to explore your market, do a bit of customer research or whatever it might be, again, the folks at Incube and Launch It should be able to help you within Paisley and Renfrewshire. So those options are out there, Gary. And it's an area that I'm quite familiar with in terms of business support with a day job. But I would wholeheartely encourage anyone thinking about setting up a business to think about it.
And I think that's an interesting topic, Andy, because there was a comment that I picked up on Twitter about location and finding it difficult. I've got an idea, but what about location? What about this? What about that?
Yeah.
See if I'm going to go out on a limb again, Andy, and this is you don't know about this.
Go on.
And I sometimes don't know what I'm about to say myself, but if people are interested in business and want to start their own wee business in the town and they don't know where to go, send us a message. We'll either go out of our way to help you, or we'll signpost you to someone that can.
Yeah.
So the question's coming up a lot tonight about, here's On Your Bike. I'd love to see On Your Bike, something like that, being part of a new niche environment in and around the town centre. And if the cost of rent or the perception of the cost of rent is an issue, we need to deal with it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Things like that, please come forward to us, because we'll gather information, we'll be more informed, and we can go to the right people and say, look, there's a solution required for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rent comes up quite often, but it's how do you start off on a small basis to really make sure that your customers are there and you've got a business model that's sustainable. Good comment in there from Colette with regards to the support that they're getting from Business Gateway, so that's good to hear.
Yeah,
of course, we had Donald.
Sorry, Andy. On you go.
Of course, we had Donald on a few weeks ago, along with Bob. So you do have local professional partners on the doorstep as well. So Assets are based out in Braehead area, and of course the Chamber. They're delighted to be able to help. So there's tons of resource out there for setting your business up.
There's Catherine. Want to set up a business for a long time. Not sure how to get off the ground and get it out there. Contact us, Catherine. Let's have a chat. See what you want to do, how we might be able to help. And there's Colette that mentioned earlier. New business. Mrs. Parties in Johnston Street. That's fantastic to see that. And Andy, people have been tuning in to different Facebook sites and saying it's about them and you need to do this and it's rubbish, everywhere's shut. That must be about 10 different businesses we've highlighted there tonight.
Absolutely.
Never mind our guests that are coming on, and they've not even got a shop in Paisley yet, and they're super excited and successful already.
Well, before we do progress, one final note of reminder, everyone, Paisley Community Trust, you should know who we are by now, but we are also looking to set something new up in the town. And what we're looking to do is deliver this project to the town, just as a reminder of what we are all about in this particular project. So what you're looking at there is a proposed community hub, community cinema, cafe, bar, restaurant, and digital skills academy. Now, you're maybe wondering where this is or where we're proposing it. If you think of Paisley High Street and the Cross, and you look at Bargain Buys or the Littlewoods building, this is a new development of that building. It retains the existing Bargain Buys retail space on the ground floor. It retains the Secret Collection on the basement floor, and it develops the first floor and develops the roof space and creates a brand new frontage to Paisley High Street. That is what we're looking to deliver. And you'll be hearing lots more about that particular project as we go forward. But we think that the time is now to bring a community hub to the high street and provide a space for you all to come, to socialise, to learn new skills, learn new developments, see the occasional movie, catch up with your friends, have a coffee, have a beer, whatever it might be. So that's our big endeavour that we're looking to deliver for the town. So we're not just talking the talk, we're going to try and walk the talk as well. But folks, as always, we need your support.
Yep, that's job opportunities, training opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and the regeneration and the revitalisation of the town.
Absolutely.
Remember, we're a charity. Every penny that goes into that and tickets and surplus, we won't be making a profit. It gets churned back into the business and it gets churned back into community projects. So, Andy, we're running well over our overrun tonight, traditionally.
Let's get back on track.
I need to move us on. So we have, every week, Annette comes on and she's got the answer to last week's question of the week, and she's got a new question of the week. So we're going to bring Annette on now to give us the answer to last week. Hi, Annette.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Great, Annette. And sorry for keeping you so long there, and apologies to Jamie and Sandy waiting in the back. We're overrun. Traditionally,
we'll be coming to you very soon, guys. But Annette, you're also a small business owner in the town as well, are you not?
Yes, I am. I'm a sports massage business owner, and about 5 or 6 years now.
Yep.
Well established, but throughout the years, I've taken support from other businesses in Paisley. So to find what my niche was, or to find where my client base was, I made contact with other businesses, and they supported me by giving me a small space in their premises, which meant kept my outgoings, down and stuff, and then I could test it, trial it, move on to the next one to see what was best for me. So yeah, love it. Love my new business and constantly growing.
Look forward to opening back up in it.
I am, with a brand new clinic of my own. So I don't have to ask anyone now. I've built my own clinic. So
Oh, fantastic, Annette. So, well, as always, we've got encouragement for new businesses to start up, and for those existing businesses that have somehow managed to survive COVID. Once we can get back and out and running, we wish you all the very best, Annette. So let's move on to question of the week then, Annette. A recap on last week, I guess.
Yeah, so the question that we asked was, should Paisley aspire to be awarded city status or remain the biggest and best town in Scotland? So
that's
again,
quite a question, Annette. Quite a question.
Yeah, we had great conversation again and interactions on social media. But in terms of the response, we were very close. It was very close. We had 46% saying become a city and 54% saying to remain a town.
Well, I'm staggered by that answer, actually, Annette, I've got to say.
There was lots of discussions around why they wanted to become a city. For instance, they wanted to make it become a city to become to get more funding, to bring more tourists in, to attract more businesses actually into the town. So they felt as if being a city would attract people to the town and to get them investing in the town. But a lot of people said no, they wanted to stay a town, and that we should be focused on fixing the town, regenerating the town. They didn't want to be compared to Glasgow and be second best to Glasgow as well.
That's really interesting, and obviously we don't influence the question or the vote when we announce it, but we're happy to talk about perhaps our own thoughts on it. And I voted myself to have Paisley remain a town. I think that's in my view the right thing for us to do. I'd rather be the biggest and the best town in Scotland rather than perhaps a poor city sibling to the likes of Glasgow. And as a town, you can really carve out your own identity. We've got such wonderful assets within the town, and I'm interested to see that it was that close. But I'm pleased also that it was on the same side as my view as well. But that was nice.
I was quite staggered, Andy, that it was so close, because I thought the majority would have been very high for remaining as the biggest and best town. and to capitalise on being the biggest and best town rather than what a city and what city brings. So I'm pleased, similar to yourself, I'm pleased that it was on that side. I'm pleased it was town. And town's got a bright future. Let's work on it.
Yeah, and the other thing, on you go,
I think people who wanted it to be a city and thought that it was going to actually bring lots more things with that title, like funding and support and things like that. So for me, I think they seen it as something that was going to benefit Paisley, going to increase, footfall, tourism, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was interesting because, again, folks, we always put up question of the week, and it's usually a kind of yes or no answer. There's no opportunity to put your comments down because we love the conversation. We love the debate on our Facebook pages. And again, the conversations were all very polite. There was 1 or 2 wee comments in there that, folk were attempting humour. But by and large, the conversation was really polite. So, thank you once again for everyone that participated in the conversation and for everyone that participated on the vote.
There was one in it I noticed they were looking for a third button. Obviously, the question was city or town, and someone said village.
There was a huge plan to change the airport's name. Everybody wants to see Glasgow as Paisley Airport.
That's another question of the week, maybe, Annette.
Definitely.
We'll do that one week.
What we got to look forward to this week then, Annette?
So this week's question, you guys are very familiar with this one, is the one about the Royal Alexandra Infirmary. There's a lot of buzz around social media around this just now, Andy. The fact that we might be having new investors and people are looking at it, and that should they keep the building as it is, or should they renovate it, change it, or knock it down? Do you want to say anything about that before I pose the question?
I found it quite interesting. Me and Andy had a chat offline about this subject of heritage assets and historical heritage assets. And if you mention heritage assets that are not here anymore, like Ferguson Mills, knocked down houses. You've got the jail at County Square, knocked down, built over the river, Piazza. Would we rather they were still there as derelict, waiting on their opportunity? Would you wait forever just to have them back and to have them in place? For me personally, I think if the jail was left there for a long time, derelict, we would have found a use for it. If we left Ferguson Mills derelict, we would have found a use for it.
Yeah.
But to let those magnificent heritage assets go just on the back of the potential profit that might be made later, I think is a crime.
Yeah.
So I'm probably preloading my thoughts on the question, but that's the theme that we want to discuss. Is it okay to just let a heritage asset go because it's maybe not profitable?
I think that's the sort of thought on this creation of the week, and you're right, Annette. This one comes up on social media quite a lot in terms of the building. A lot of folk go up and take pictures of the building, and again, the commentary with regard to the state of the building itself. And folks that maybe not know what the old Royal Alexandra Infirmary Hospital is, it's on Nielsen Road, and that's the condition that it finds itself in right now. A very sorry state, but it is quite an architectural gem. And we've seen buildings. Look, for instance, I remember long ago, and I'm sure most of our viewers tonight will also remember the old mill, the Anchor Mill that sits now, turned into gorgeous, big, beautiful flats. In fact, our photographer that was on last week, Alan, is a resident of those flats. That building sat for such a long time empty, and such a long time in a fairly poor and derelict condition, because it was just uneconomically viable. It wasn't viable to redevelop that particular building. There was going to be so much sunk cost into it. but the local authority found a way, private developers found a way, and look at what it is now. And I guess that leads us on to some of the kind of positioning of the question of the week this week, innit?
Yeah, so what we're going to have is it better to retain the REI hospital lying derelict and in further decline in the hope that it can be saved in the future, or should it be demolished to make way for the new or modern accommodation and development? So A, retain in hope, left to decline, or B, demolished for a new development?
Yeah, because I think it's really important, folks, just to be really clear, so that building is owned by a third party. It's not owned by Paisley. It's not owned by the council. It's not owned by anyone else other than a third party that we understand is down in London, and they've let it get to the position in the state that it is. Ultimately, the question is, is it best that just remain as is in a continual decline in the hope that someone comes along and spends it right, or do we just actually say, time to get rid of it, it's too much of a mess or too much of a cost, let's get rid of it and build new on it? So we'd be really interested to hear what your thoughts are on that.
I would also say the top option needs to come with a small caveat, and the small caveat for me is we're not intending that gets left to terminal decline. The intention would be the first one needs effort. Yeah. The first one really, really needs effort. You can't just sit back anymore and say, let's leave it to terminal decline. As a community, we need to be saying, what do we need to do to stop the first one so that the second one doesn't become inevitable? Because the second one becomes, without community interjection, the first one, the second one becomes relatively inevitable. So it's about the goal. We maybe having a think about it. I'll be interested in the comments. I'll be interested in the dialogue as the week goes on, and I'll be interested in people's feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we just finish off on this segment, Paul makes an interesting point. It's down to the owner who only thinks on how much profit they can make. I guess you're right there, Paul. What I think also, and Gary, you might be able to correct me on this, is any future use. For instance, demolition, that would need to be considered by the council, you would imagine, at some point. I don't know what the listing is on the particular building right now, but if it was to be demolished and new planning would be put in place, that would be a council decision.
Maybe wrong, is it not a B-listed building?
Yeah, I think it's definitely listed.
Yeah.
And I think the internals, as far as I'm aware, I was speaking to someone this week, speaks to Cameron actually, with one of our trustees this week, and it's the building is solid.
Yep.
Internally, it might be in bad repair, but it's solid and it will sit there forever.
Yep.
Unless someone comes along and does damage to it, but it'll sit there forever. And if it sits there forever, let's find. Well, I don't want to prejudge it anyway.
Well, let's see. So, folks, this is that part of the show where I ask you to get your camera phones out, hold it up to the screen, and get your camera on. QR code time, Survey Monkey. You'll see the question number 12 up there, and should it be retained in hope, left to decline, or demolished for a new development? Get your votes in now. Brilliant. All right, Annette.
I'm sure that will have a bit of interesting conversation as the week goes on, and it's not just us, it's doing the rounds, but we want to focus it, see what the answer is, publish it next week.
Okay. Wonderful.
See you later.
Excellent. Thanks so much indeed, Annette. Take care.
Thanks again.
Great. Well, that'll be an interesting topic of conversation, Gary. And, great comments coming in from everyone on social media, not only in terms of the REI, but also in terms of the business special that we've got on tonight. So, business startup special. Gary, yes. I think it's time. Our guests have been patiently waiting. I think it's time we better get our guests on.
We are 15 minutes over the overrun, Andy, so let's get our guests on. Jamie and Sandy from the Paisley Craft Beer Company. Hope I've got that right.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, hello.
Yep.
How are we doing, gents? And firstly, I've got to thank both of you for looking so hairy this evening, because last week on the show, it was myself and Gary, follically challenged, and we had Stuart and Alan on, who were almost carbon copies of ourselves. A little bit of stubble and not very much up top. So it's great to see some youthful hairiness on the show this evening.
You should have seen my hair earlier. It was a full-on afro before I gelled it all down.
You gelled it down?
I'm getting my hair cut Friday, so
wow.
It's dire state in there.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. Well, listen, it's great to have you on the show. And I guess for those that perhaps don't know who you are, or what you do, Jamie, Sandy, if we could ask you to introduce yourselves, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, we're Paisley Craft Beer Co. We're a new business that hopefully will be opening up in Paisley very shortly. We ran a crowdfunder recently, which I think a lot of people have seen. I've recognised a lot of names in the comments as well who have put money into it, which we will thank you as well. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a business up and running very, very shortly in Paisley.
So, Jamie, what's your background then? Is your background in brewing, or is it Sandy's background that's in brewing?
Sandy's it's my background that's in brewing.
Tell us a bit about that, Sandy.
So I done a degree at Heriot Watt. They do a brewing and distilling degree.
That'd be an interesting.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to kind of. I done a course before that, uni in computing science, and I decided that was far too boring.
Listen, Sandy, when we were all at college or we were all at university, we all did a degree in drinking beer now.
I did the same degrees, Sandy, but they get called engineering.
But no, so I done that, and then I worked quite a few breweries around Scotland, Fallon Brewing in Stirling, Black Isle in Inverness, and then end up in Dundee for a bit. But it was never. I always wanted to kind of come back home. And I kind of worked out that the only way to come back home was to make a job for myself, because there's not many breweries, especially do the kind of beer that I want to make. So that's kind of how I end up launching the brewery, which we contract brew, so we use time on other people's kit for now, with the idea that we'll eventually have our own place in Paisley down the line, and that's kind of done quite well with the shop. So when Jamie mentioned he was keen on the shop, then I was like, yeah, let's go for it.
But that first thing I noticed a while ago, I didn't make the connection actually when I seen the cans. Was that yours, Sandy?
Yeah. So that's my own brand. 2 Towns Down, it's called.
I noticed that a while ago, and I thought, why is that Paisley pattern on it? Where's the connection? I seen it on social media a lot. I didn't connect it to what you guys are doing until you started doing what you were doing. So how did what's it called? 2 Towns?
2 Towns Down, yeah. And it's Paisley pattern, because it's a kind of a thing in craft beer that there's big, bright cans. It's a kind of trend. So I thought, how can I do that, but a little bit different, but still kind of with a little bit of history behind it and a bit of background to it.
Yep.
It's got a bit of family history with me as well. My gran worked in the mills, and a lot of my family worked in the mills, like everybody that's from Paisley. You know, if you go back far enough, there'll be somebody who worked in the mill. And that's just a good way of tying in history, and you know, people really like the cans. It translates well outside Paisley as well.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at those cans, I'll bring the image back up again, because they're definitely worth taking a look at again. But you know, you can imagine that, and I know what you're saying about some of the kind of brashness of some of the other cans that are out there. You know, just having that Paisley pattern on there, and the colours and the small bit of text down at the bottom. I would imagine if you saw that on a shop shelf next to some of the others, that's going to stand out more than those.
Yeah, definitely. People love the cans. They're all, it's the first thing people say. But people like the beer too, but they definitely like the cans.
I mean, that's interesting that they're putting the Paisley pattern on it. I have a small issue with the teardrop gin that I'm going to bring up tonight.
Go on.
On a similar Paisley. I'm going to bring it up because I've got it here. So Teardrop Gin.
Are you finished that already, Gary?
Well, my question is, what am I going to do with that empty bottle? I don't want to throw it out. Now, you must have a very similar issue with the cans, because they're that nice.
Yeah, we definitely get people that buy them for ornaments, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right, Gary. The Teardrop Gin bottle looks fantastic. I think on the Facebook page they have people that turn them into lights with lampshades and stuff like that as well. So, beautiful looking cans. I'm sure the product is great, but you're embarking on a new endeavour and you're off to a cracking start already. Jamie, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically, I currently work in a job that I'm not 100% satisfied with. I won't go too much into it because I still technically work for them, so I'm not going to bash them too much. Something I've always wanted to do is just something in Paisley, something that would give me a bit more fulfillment and give back to the town. And it was actually during lockdown. I'm sitting there brainstorming what can I do, and I was buying beer online, and I was like, why do I have to go online for this? Why is there nowhere in Paisley that does it? And it kind of just clicked. Yeah. And I met Sandy and said, do you think this would work? And he was like, yeah, I've been thinking about it myself. So we kind of just teamed up and we just worked out ways of how we could raise some money for it. And one of the ideas that came up was a crowdfunder, which we set up. We put out the target of 7,000. We thought that might have been a bit ambitious. We didn't really know if we'd hit the target or not. With crowdfunder, there's two options. There's one option saying, if you don't hit the target, do you want to give all the money back or do you want to keep it? So we're like, we'll keep it just in case kind of thing. But we're absolutely blown away with how many people supported us. As you can see there, 170 people have supported us and donated £7,770. That was 111% of our target.
Absolutely smashed it then. So that crowdfunder, I mean, it is a relatively kind of common way for a new start or a business to raise money these days. So tell us what your plans are for that sort of initial seed money that's going into your business, Jamie.
So that basically just allows us to be a bit, the main thing about that as well, it's almost like it's market research as well. Are people wanting this in Paisley? And that was a clear answer of yes. Yeah. This is just going to go help our startup. We'll currently still looking for a premises. We've got a kind of offer in our place and now we're just waiting to hear back. But this just allows us to open up a bit quicker and move our plans a lot more forward.
Yeah.
So I mean, the principle behind it is beer, craft beer, niche, in and around the town centre. Is that the location that you're thinking?
Yeah, in the town centre. We've had a look at some premises. We made an offer on a place in New Street, which unfortunately we didn't get. Someone else has got it, but there's another new business moving into Paisley.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, we are looking to be in the town centre. We want to do it as a shop, but then we also want room to grow in. So we have like a place where you can come in and almost like a cafe style where you can come in and sit and drink some of the beer as well. And then obviously bring the brewery into Paisley as well. And you can sit and drink our beer in the shop.
So the brewery is an iteration of the ambition. And you got a timeline for that?
So it's a bit not sure about when we'll actually be able to get the brewery in. I'm trying to look at premises just now and trying to find something of the size that we need.
Yeah.
Reasonably small to begin with. I'm finding tricky. They're all a lot bigger. They're all about 1,000 square foot, whereas maybe only need about 500 to begin with. So I'm not sure on the timeline of that yet, but that's definitely the ambition, is to bring the brewery in as well and have some beer brewed in Paisley for, I think it's first time in 120 years since Saucil Brewing closed.
Oh yeah. Andy mentioned some of the agencies that help. Have you been interacting with any that we mentioned earlier? Are you getting help?
Yeah. We spoke to Business Gateway, who actually told us with the premises thing, message Paisley first. So I've heard a few things about Paisley first, but I've never actually dealt with them myself. But they've been really, really helpful with because if you walk through Paisley Town Centre, you'll see the empty shops, but you won't see signs of who has them, if they're for let or whatever. They went and got his contacts for people to talk to say that they actually own this, or this agency currently has this shop, and give us contacts so we can actually speak to the people who are behind the shop and what their plans are for it.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and clearly, you know, what you're thinking about is starting off relatively small. You know, your crowd funding campaign was a little bit of market research. So, you know, do people in Paisley want to drink beer? And, you know, asking Paul Stewart there, no brainer, of course. So you've got that initial bit of validation, so you know that there's an audience out there. Then you think about going to the shop, building that brand up, getting it out there, because I think you've got a fantastic brand in the making. You know, Paisley craft beer company. You can see it in neon there. I'd imagine that's going to be outside your store at some point. And then you've got that longer term plan of bringing the brewery into the town as well. And I've been in a number of pubs that have got their own sort of microbreweries, you know, on display. It's the feature almost, you know, and you go and have a beer, you can pick whichever tap that you want to go for, and you can see all the mechanics of how it's all made in the background. It's part of the experience. It's not just about the taste.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're considering maybe going forward, even if it's not the whole production of the brewery, but a little bit of it being on site.
And remember we went down to Newcastle and we were down looking at containers, and there was it a brewery or was it a gin still that was seen inside one? A number of containers all joined together, and in the back all the was that gin or was it beer?
I can't remember. I think it was a brewery. That was one down on the kind of waterside there, Gary. Yeah, I remember.
That would be really quirky and interesting to see. Again, what you guys are doing for me that I've noticed is point of difference all the way along. I've not seen a Paisley startup in the town start off the way that you guys are starting off with a crowdfunder. So point of difference number one, and that growth into becoming something different. So I want to wish you all the best. I think you've got a fantastic opportunity in the town, and the way that the town, and not our town, the way towns are going.
Yeah,
your sort of startup and business needs to be encouraged. It needs to be supported because it is the future of town centres.
Absolutely. And what I like, Jamie, was what you were saying there as well, and Sandy, I guess, given your particular background in brewing and the actual, you know, the mechanics of it all and the different flavours and the different ingredients that go in. Again, that's another point of difference, because I'll be very honest, I'm not a huge fan of craft beer, but probably because I don't really know much about it. I would love to go to a place that I could sit down and somebody say, well, here's this kind of craft beer, and here's why that's got that particular flavour, and here's this particular one, and here's the ingredients that are used in that. I would really enjoy that, because that would allow me to kind of find my way, experiment, and kind of figure out which one I really like. There's a place up in Glasgow that does that for spirits, the Good Spirit Company. They do rum testing, they do gin tasting, whiskey, all that sort of stuff. And for you to be able to build a community around, you know, that type of activity, as well as having your own there, which is the house blend, so to speak, I think that's a smashing idea.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the idea. It's something we want to do more of. We're getting involved in the Food and Drink Festival, so we're doing a bit of it's going to be a tasting pack. It will be 3 of our beers and then 2 other beers from breweries that we want to kind of highlight that we'll have in the shop, and we'll talk through the beers and explain a bit about brewing and, you know, how it works. And then, you know, we're looking forward to stuff like running a beer festival, that type of thing, stuff to really get people in to try the beer and introduce people to craft beer, because it's a bit of craft beer. There's so much variety. You might have tried one craft beer and not liked it, but it doesn't mean you don't like all craft beer. You know, they're all totally different.
Absolutely. And Gary's got that image up there, so that's on the 24th of April as part of the Food and Drink.
Is that the Saturday, Sandy?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
And of course, it says virtual beer tasting, but you will be drinking actual beer.
Yeah. The beer will be sent out before the event. And it's me and Jamie that will be coming to you virtually.
What's the beer like with Baroka?
It's good. Good with Baroka. I've tested that out in a few nights.
Yeah. We've got a couple of suggestions coming in. We love crowdsourcing I know you guys have crowdsourced your initial funding, but we love crowdsourcing ideas on the Paisley Community Chat Show. Catherine is offering you the kitchen for your micro distillery, as long as there's a free supply that comes with it. On the other hand, you could take Paul up in his offer if you're wanting to sign his soul up for a free supply. I'm sure there's an option there. Roddy coming in with the old Dusty Miller's pub on Cossey Side Street. Where's that, Gary? Dusty Miller's pub.
Dusty Miller, across from the Russell Institute.
Across from the Russell
I did see that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Dusty Miller's quite an interesting pub, because the front of it is a traditional pub, and from memory, you go down a corridor to the left-hand side. There's a big room in the back. I mean, a big giant room in the back. I don't know if you'll go by health and safety and stuff like that, and or what your issues might be being below flats. But I mean, that's a no bad location if you're looking for, if you consider town centre and that to be just in and around where you want to be, or have you thought about it a wee bit more carefully? And do you have a locus in mind? Do you have High Street and in and around Moss Street, or is it periphery, or do you not mind?
Don't really mind. The place that we're kind of currently looking at, and we're still waiting to hear back from, would be a quite ideal place for us to grow into as well. There's enough for us to like start as a shop and then grow in, and then maybe have something on the side that we don't really want to get into too much right now. But
top secret plans,
just in case it doesn't go ahead. We don't want to raise expectations or anything, especially my own. It will be Paisley Town Centre, what we're looking at. It probably won't be High Street, but there or thereabouts.
Yeah. I know that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you're taking a sort of pragmatic approach, because the start small. You've done your market testing, as we say, but then you've got scope to actually grow over the long term, which is great. Obviously, tonight is talking about business startups. So there might be folk watching tonight that's maybe thinking about setting up their own business and some of the challenges that they might face. So it'd be good to get a wee insight into some of the particular challenges that you've had yourself, and maybe some of the things that you can see coming down the line, and what you're planning to do to tackle them.
To be fair, we haven't really had that many challenges. I think the biggest one has been the premises. We have seen a lot of premises in Paisley, and they leave a lot to be desired. Like if you're wanting to move into certain like really good locations that have been empty for a while and they've not been looked after, like we've been on very, very spongy floors.
Well, I was on the spongy floor, you chickened out.
Yeah, I decided I was too heavy to be on this spongy floor, and so I kind of held back a bit. There's a place that we thought would have been ideal, but we've still not been able to see it, and we've been speaking to them for over a month, 2 months and a half, because the person who owns it hasn't paid their electricity bill, and they have an electric shutter, so they can't get the shutter up to show us. So when we started up the business, a lot of people said, "Oh, you'll find a place, no problem. There's loads of places in Paisley."
You'd be surprised. It's more difficult than you think.
Yeah, or places that won't even see us because we're not a hot food takeaway. We get rejected to just view to premises because of that.
Really?
Seems to be where people are looking at now. So
if you were a hot food takeaway, then your choices would be open, or more open then.
So I think essentially they're looking for you to put a kitchen in. That's kind of what I read through the lines. There's no kitchens already, so I guess they're just wanting an asset to their unit, I guess.
Yeah. And as you've started down that journey, you'll be coming up against the judgments that you need to make, and you're already starting to describe some of the judgments, and it's not letting your heart rule your head. You're going into that in a very pragmatic way and getting through the process. Mm-hmm. And how close are you to signing on the dotted line with your premises?
We have made the offer. We just haven't heard back yet. We made it last week. Okay. We thought we might hear it after the Easter weekend, but we still actually haven't had a reply. So we're hoping that means that they're having a proper good think about it, and it might be more positive. But we'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll have something sorted soon.
Yeah, and ultimately
you need to let us know, and we can when you're ready to to let the good news out that you're about to start your refurb works, or is it in move-in condition?
Well, it's not in bad condition. The thing is, which is also, I think, why certain landlords have kind of decided not to go with us, is because the premises license for us to sell alcohol on the premises takes 3 to 6 months as well. So that's what we've got to kind of work with. But we're hoping that the landlord sees the bigger picture.
Yeah. And, all being well, fingers crossed on your property, licensing coming through and getting granted, when do you think you'll be open and selling beer? What's your target?
Earliest would be September. We're hoping September, October time.
Yeah, and right now, in the meantime, because obviously you're able to, I guess you'll be fulfilling the crowdfunding requirements. You've obviously got the event coming up with the Paisley Food and Drink Festival. So do you have an online shop? Are folk able to buy as yet?
You can buy Sandy's beer on his website.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Two Times Down has an online shop. We don't for the bottle shop yet, but that's maybe something we'll look at. We're looking at maybe doing markets as well and stuff like that. So if we get that going and get a bit of stock together, then we can maybe look at it online, even if it is just a extra bit to my online shop, which is already.
Just a thought, guys. Would you be allowed to sell at the farmers market?
Yeah, we've looked into that. We unfortunately they're fully booked at the moment, but we're waiting for a space to free up for us to go in. But we've spoke to licensing about it, and they see no issue with it. We just need an occasional license.
Yeah, it's really great to see. I mean, there's so much encouragement coming on through the comments here and social media, and I think one of the other things that's really encouraging, and we've mentioned them already, are the folks over at Teardrop. I love the fact that we've got these brilliant bottles, proudly displaying the Paisley pattern and with Paisley landmarks behind. Again, a quick refresh on what you guys have done, but the folks at Teardrop Gin have had a huge success. People in Paisley have been really, really supportive of that organisation, how it's taken off. And in fact, I think they've just launched a brand new product, a liqueur gin as well, which I'm saying I think, I know because I've got a bottle of it downstairs. But I'm sure there'll be lots of support from similar folk. In fact, there we go. Teardrop wishing you guys the best of luck. Jackie in there as well. A little tip in here on this one, guys. I don't know what this says about Colette, but Colette seems to know that there's cranks in most shutter systems to allow you to open them manually if they've got no electricity. So I don't know what that says about Colette. Maybe she's had been able to get into a few places in the past.
We had that in our roller shutter, Andy. A wee key and a crank.
Get a wee crank out, get you open.
About Teardrop. Another reason I've not thrown this out, and this is a tiny, tiny wee thing, and it made me just kind of stop. The bottle has got a number. So this is bottle number 224. So it makes you think, oh, that's a special thing. I'm not throwing that out.
Yeah.
What you got, Jamie?
340.
340. Well, that's quite an interesting wee gimmick, and having the pattern on it, just getting that. And I know when Donald was on, he was talking about it creates loyalty, and you get that. I mean, and I know the pattern will allow you to develop your brand, develop your business to a wider audience as well, because it's a global thing.
Now, here's a wee idea. I always like getting ideas, guys. And when you get your shop open, right, why don't you have a big vat of Teardrop gin in it? And if you come along with your glass bottle, you can get a refill. I wouldn't say it'd be a free refill. I'm sure the folks at Teardrop Gin would work out a sensible business model. But as Michael Cairns suggests, a wee gin refill station. Come along with your empty bottle, and that's very environmentally friendly as well. And while you're at it, pick up a 6-pack of beer to go along with it.
Yeah, we're all for that.
There's a partner pending, Andy, in the back of Paisley Community Chat Show.
Well, absolutely. And so we've got great comments. And guys, I guess ultimately, just as we start to finish off, then we obviously wish you a whole lot of luck and success, and look forward to sampling your goods as they become available. Wish you all the best when you open the store. But for those that are thinking about setting up on their own business journey, what are some of the pieces of advice that you'd want to give folks?
Do it. Like, there's so much resources out there and people that are willing to help. Like, you speak to Business Gateway, they'll put you through to all these people to speak to. Paisley First are brilliant to speak to. Even yourselves. Just social media. We put out right at the start, we put out a survey, and we got some local responses from that as well. And it's just unbelievable with people from Paisley. They're so willing to support new business in Paisley. Go for it.
Yeah.
And Sandy, what would you like to add to that?
I think that's the thing. I think you don't know how people are going to react to it until you do it, and it's find a way of doing it. But not overstretching yourself, but getting out there and giving people the opportunity to support you, because you'll be surprised how many people actually do once you get out there.
There's a lot of goodwill out there for people that want to give things a go, particularly in beer. Yeah, Graham McClatchy, customer number 1.
That's good.
He'll be
Graham mentioned
the grand opening.
He also studied beer at uni, Sandy.
All right, there you go.
Fantastic. And I think Councillor Devine has maybe spotted what's just behind you there with the Love Street. Paisley will always support supporting businesses in from Councillor Devine. So Jamie, obviously, is Sandy St Mun's supporter then? St Mun's supporter?
I like rugby. Really. He used to play for Paisley Rugby Club, actually.
Oh, well, there you go. They've been guests on the show, I guess, on the show. Well, listen, folks, it's been brilliant having you on the show this evening. I'm sure you'll get through the next few months really well. We wish you the very best of luck, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that not only do you guys open in September, but we can all get out and come down and celebrate with you, because I think it would be fantastic to see that. So best of luck, guys.
Looking forward to you opening up, guys. Looking forward to getting my beer with my Paroka. And I'll give you some feedback. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks, guys, and all the best.
Thank you.
See you later on, folks. See you later. Bye-bye. Oh, that's really exciting, Gary. Isn't it great to hear such positivity from, you obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we had Bob and Donald on encouraging companies to start up. Tonight, we've seen a whole list of companies that have started up or are evolving or changing. And then tonight, we had 2 wonderful guests on who have actually taken that big leap to set up their own business, and they've done it in a very measured way. Checked the market, checked to see if there was interest, and each step going forward, they've been able to grow, and the support for them is pretty significant.
Yeah, and I think the only thing for them to watch out for is the potential for growth.
Yeah,
for growing too quickly, because if it takes off the way that it might, then they're in for a really exciting journey.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure if they get the location right, which by the sounds of things they've been working hard on, and they've got the social media posts out there, by the time that they come to open their shop up for the first time, I'm sure they'll have a queue of people out there. Good time to start a business in Paisley, and I liked Paul Stewart's comment about a Paisley FM discount card.
That's an idea. Yeah, I didn't know Jamie was a fellow presenter.
Yes, indeed.
And now that we mentioned that, Andy, I forgot about something earlier on.
Go on.
It caught my eye. Now, I'm going to...
It's the start of the show, folks.
Talking about Paisley FM and opportunities for people.
Right.
This caught my eye.
So it did, Gary.
Talking about Paisley FM Mafia and the discount card. If you want to be a volunteer at Paisley FM, contact them. They're looking for presenters, producers, particularly behind the scenes. If you've got an interest in events, sound, IT, engineering, marketing, social media, or anything else that you think you can help our local community radio station, contact Paisley FM. There's an opportunity for you to get involved in the radio station.
Brilliant. That's a great opportunity, because that could be, somebody that's maybe retired, got a wee bit of time in their hands. Maybe they've sadly lost their job as a result of COVID, or it might be a young person, maybe your daughter or your son that's looking to get a start, and they want to volunteer for Paisley's community radio station. What a brilliant thing, Gary. Absolutely
great opportunity, Andy, for somebody, and they're very supportive. There's a great network down at Paisley FM, mostly great people.
Paul, how's the eye? We need an update on Paul's eye. If you remember, folks, Paul fell through his mother's ceiling a few weeks ago, and thankfully he was okay, but he had a kicker, as they say.
He was lucky, Andy. He landed in his head.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been no damage done.
Oh dear. Well, I hope you're on the mend anyway. And another great show tonight, Gary. As we say, it's the guests. I know we've had the folks on from Paisley Craft Beer, but we've also had such a brilliant stream of comments coming in on social media. Very encouraging indeed. And
I think it's testament to the fact that doing the research over the past week or so, Andy, on businesses in and around the town, it wasn't difficult to find those businesses that have either started up, spun out of management into business, transitioned their business into something else, started a new business, serial entrepreneurs and business startups. Not difficult to find in the town. And I think the silver lining with the pandemic is a 20-minute neighbourhood and the support for shop and support local. I think that's the way forward, and we're in Paisley right ahead of the curve on that.
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting, and there's not, we talk about folk on social media, the comments, and obviously they see the town and, they need to put something in, you need to do something, but they do come up with ideas, they do come up with things that Paisley needs. So we'd like to hear from you. You can post up on our social media channels. You can post up here at any point as we go out and broadcast. But what does Paisley need? What types of businesses does the town need? What do you think there is a gap for? Obviously, we've got beer is getting looked after, but one of the ones that a lot of folk talk about is soft play, Gary. That comes up time and time again, soft play. Yeah,
and someone out there could be just thinking, "Oh, that's a great idea. I know how to do that. I think I'll bring that to Paisley." So I've been really interested in ideas for new businesses, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. A new business is an old business done exact same in a different location or tweaked. Just chance your arm, open a business up, and as Andy mentioned earlier, loads of support networks out there. And if you've got an idea, you think, who do you want to speak to, and you're a bit shy about going to these support networks, drop us a message and we'll see what we can do to help you.
Yeah, that was another encouraging thing that came through tonight. The support organisations that are out there are playing their part within Paisley and Renfrewshire, and supporting the companies that are looking to set up. So, folks, we heard it earlier on from Jamie in terms of what you should do. Just do it. Think about setting up. Just do it. Go for it. And lots of support out there. So, Gary, we're nearly very much at the end of our show. We've managed to bring it back in almost on time for the usual overrun of half an hour. I think we've accepted it's an hour and a half show, folks, as opposed to the hour show. But
almost spot on, Andy. Almost spot on. I'm just going to double check what's on next week in case I get it wrong. Because it's a really exciting show next week.
Oh, go on then, Gary.
Really, really exciting show next week. It's a Paisley Town Hall redevelopment project special. We're going to bring you the project director that's redeveloping Paisley Town Hall, and we're dedicating the whole show to the redevelopment of Town Hall. We'll talk a wee bit about the museum, we'll talk a wee bit about the Arts Centre, we'll talk a wee bit about the library and the public realm, but it's about the redevelopment and regeneration and the process related to the Paisley Town Hall.
Oh, that is going to be fantastic, Gary, because actually I seen some of the videos that were out on social media the other week, and wow, it's just breathtaking the work that they've started to undertake in there. So folks, that is one not to be missed. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday, Facebook or YouTube at 8 p.m. It's going to be an absolute belter of a show.
It's going to be a cracker. So Neil's coming on. I'm trying to find it, Andy. I'm confident. I'm confident.
Gary, we've bigged it up, but it better be that now.
If it isn't that, we'll come on with a couple of wee pretend animations that go, Town Hall's there, and in a couple of years it'll be better.
It'll be better. No, it'll be a cracking show. Well, listen, folks, thank you once again for joining in this evening. I hope you've had an inspiring time listening to the great opportunities for setting up your own business in Paisley. If you're thinking about doing it, go for it. And in the meantime, have a great week until we see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for watching again tonight, and good night from me.
And good night from me.
Good night.